Oh boy, the WWE has completely pressed the panic button. Hello everybody, my name is Sancho and welcome to Sancho Wrestling. We'll talk about all things wrestling. In today's episode, we're going to unpack the thing that I've been kind of talking about for months and months about the WWE pressing the panic button, and it's kind of just come to light here at Madison Square Garden for that crazy WWE Monday Night Raw that we saw here. I have so many things to unpack here, so hang out for me for a bit to understand where I'm coming from and where all the signs and kind of flags that I've seen from the WWE showing that the panic button has been pressed. A couple weeks ago, I asked this question: what will the WWE do when their back's against the wall? What would they do when they feel the pressure from TKO to make up for that 19% in WrestleMania ticket sales that were way behind from the previous year to now? Considering last year you had John Cena's last time at Mania, so many people were buying tickets to go see John Cena in Las Vegas, wrestling as a heel. Wrestling as a heel with Travis Scott and Cody Rhodes, things all that sort. So there's so much kind of momentum going that way. A year later, they're behind 20%. Tourism is down in the United States, tourism down in Las Vegas, and the tickets are so expensive that WWE has raised it throughout months and months and months leading into Mania. By the time when Mania ticket sales hit, couldn't afford him, and now all of a sudden the card is shaping up, and it's interesting how they're shaping it up, and that's been another sign that WWE creative has been moving in this panic button type of situation. But not only that, they've done a lot of discounted sales to get people inside the door. They did the Austin 316 day discount where it was 31.6% off. They just recently did a 25% off. Anything and by all means necessary to get the people inside that Las Vegas arena, the Allegiant Stadium, one last time to we won't look so bad, according to the WWE. And I've been wondering, how would it affect not only the business side of the WWE, but also in front, the creative side of the things, and we're seeing it affect the creative side of booking, and that was shown right here on Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden. Before we talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw, let's talk about the recent announcement that John Cena will be hosting WrestleMania. That's so many things that I feel that is wrong with that announcement, because this man just literally retired a couple months later, and not only that, it just cheapens everything that we did for the WrestleMania tour and the retirement tour and all those last time of opportunities to watch John Cena. For all those people that bought extra money on all those extremely expensive tickets to get into the building to see John Cena one last time in the jorts and the hat and the wristband, you gotta feel kind of bummed out that John Cena is literally coming back at WrestleMania to do it all over again. You're gonna be able to see him run out. Granted, he's not gonna wrestle, but who knows? He might do an attitude adjustment for the people. He might do an Eric Rowan versus The Rock. I mean, he's retired, but that doesn't mean he's retired type of situation. I'm hoping for the people that spend so much money to go to Washington, D.C. to see John Cena retire, that it would just be the actor John Cena who's out there to promote the movie that he's in Netflix, to be that man, to be just John Cena. Because if we see the other kind of John Cena, that would kind of suck. That would kind of sting a little bit, considering that we've already said goodbye to John Cena in a weird and awkward way, that we didn't even get a goodbye speech from John Cena. I mean, at this point, just pull him in a Hall of Fame as well to sell the tickets for the Hall of Fame that's going to happen, and just bump AJ Styles to the back and Stephanie McMahon. That is the kind of panic button that the WWE has pressed, because it's already been reported that John Cena is the host to encourage more ticket sales, to encourage the people that maybe were reluctant and regretful that they missed John Cena the last time they're in Vegas, that maybe we're going to go see him again this time. That's the play that they're making, and that's the play that they're going to continue to make, because not only that they made that choice already, I mean, typically it's a celebrity. I mean, how Cardi B did SummerSlam. The point I wanted to make is John Cena hosting WrestleMania just kind of soils. They kind of just makes it a little bit hard to swallow all the stuff that we went through during his retirement tour, and especially the thing for Gunther. If you're a Gunther fan out there, you're like, why did they do that to Gunther? This guy's supposed to be gone. He put him to sleep. He's not supposed to be around. We'll get more to Gunther in a little bit later, but that is a wild call to me, to make John Cena the host of WrestleMania just a few minutes, like fresh out the gate. That's like almost digging up the grave almost of John Cena to get him out there, because it's just needing so much help to make WrestleMania the must-see ticket for Las Vegas, and at the same time to encourage the people to travel, which is a strange time or part of our world right now, to travel to the United States. But going back to how it's affecting inside the creative, inside the squared circle, we literally had a major pivot due to some major injuries that were happening. We had Seth Rollins get injured, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and which led us to this point. A lot of people were wondering, what are they going to do with Seth Rollins? Seth Rollins got medically cleared here on Monday Night Raw by Adam Pearce, and then Paul Heyman gets hit in the back with a chair, and here we go. Seth Rollins cleared. What's going to happen? Is Braun Breaker going to return? There was rumors of another masked man with a hoodie walking into Madison Square Garden with a suitcase, and it was very apparent that that was just to dissuade us. And out comes Gunther to attack Seth Rollins. I'm, for one, if on paper you're excited for Seth Rollins versus Gunther, I ain't mad at you. It's going to be a banger of a match, and Seth Rollins and Gunther are going to be a solid chemistry in the ring. But at the same time, you got to wonder, why is Gunther attacking Seth Rollins? You could kind of tie the connection that a lot of people are starting to make, that maybe Paul Heyman asked Gunther to do it to be a mercenary for hire, as just an assumption here, and that Paul Heyman's going to give him Gunther, and then all of a sudden maybe he does that favor for Paul Heyman and Gunther gets Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. You could connect the dots in that way, and maybe Paul Heyman's gonna sacrifice Brock Lesnar to be the next Paul Heyman guy for Gunther. Who knows? But at the end of the time, me and my co-host Santi's app, hoping that this would kind of shed away the career killer, or shed away the retirement maker when it comes to Brock, to Gunther. I mean, I love Gunther. I think Gunther's a great gimmick, but the thing is, what makes Gunther so good is that he doesn't have a gimmick. You know, it's all about his in-ring that he puts in banger of matches. He's just this unstoppable type of force that's going to put your favorite wrestler and it's going to be the toughest out, and it's going to be a banger of a match. And that's what was Gunther's draw. But then all of a sudden he got saddled with this career killer, legend killer type of thing. And like, man, he put Goldberg out, John Cena, AJ Styles. There's not a lot of wrestlers who are next to close to retirement besides Rey Mysterio, and no one wanted to say Rey Mysterio going up against Gunther at WrestleMania, because we all want Dom to retire Rey Mysterio. So what that's going to leave out the door, when you don't have any type of action going forward, does this mean that Seth Rollins might be knocking on the door of retirement? Now that will be a huge, crazy type of scenario that happens out of nowhere, because Seth Rollins is so young in terms of all of his wrestling accolades, and there's so many stories left to tell with Seth Rollins, considering that Roman Reigns and CM Punk are left on the table. And you know, we all have these rumors swirling around that Becky Lynch may retire soon because she signed her last contract in the WWE. And at the same time, Seth Rollins is doing such a great job being a sports type of personality for ESPN that it would make sense that, hey, Seth Rollins found a way to easy on his body. He could kind of be at home more for his kids and everything like that. It would make sense for him to get retired by Gunther, but I'm hoping that's not the case, and I'm hoping that this is just a way to take off the Gunther personality of being the career killer, take off that gimmick, so that way we can get Gunther out of that corner that the WWE's painted him in, because should not be a thing where we should be wondering if this is going to be a retirement match or a career ender for Seth Rollins. We should be excited that this is going to be a banger match between two great wrestlers in the business, especially in the WWE, and hopefully if Seth Rollins is able to overcome Gunther, he could just get rid of this career thing and we can move forward with Gunther as being a dominant pro wrestling heel that is must see for his attitude and the ability to put on banger of matches. This is going to sting a little bit to see Gunther lose at WrestleMania, considering that he put down AJ Styles and John Cena just recently, and if you want to throw in Goldberg, yeah, but at the same time, if that sacrifice is great, then awesome. Speaking of, yeah, we had a huge development for LA Knight. I'm so excited as an LA Knight #1 fan. You know me. For the people that have been following this channel for a long time, I absolutely love LA Knight. No matter what he botches, no matter what kind of rope he slips on, doesn't matter. He's awesome. I absolutely adore the man. The thing about it, we were wondering what the hell is going to happen with LA Knight. LA Knight, another victim of the injuries for the Vision, another man feuding with the Vision, and considering on this Monday night he's at commentary table between the Visions and the Usos in a street fight, and what happens? He gets knocked out by IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed's another sign that the panic button has been pressed. IShowSpeed is a huge celebrity among the interwebs, and as well, he has so much pull when it comes to stream numbers, and he's kind of responsible for the biggest viral Royal Rumble and maybe the biggest viral moment in WWE history by getting speared by Braun Breaker. So of course the WWE is knocking on the door of IShowSpeed to show up at Mania, to get more eyeballs at Mania, and maybe to get a lot of people to ask their mom and dads, including myself, to go to Las Vegas to see IShowSpeed wrestle. Not only going to put no knocks against IShowSpeed, he did a great moment with becoming a pro wrestler type of documentary that he did with Randy Orton, and I do think IShowSpeed is a natural gifted athlete, and he could do anything that he puts his mind to, and he's clearly athletic enough to be able to step into the ring with minimum training. So shout out to IShowSpeed if he's going to do that at Mania. But you could already see a match already brewing between LA Knight, the Usos versus the Vision with IShowSpeed. I think that's going to be a great match. People are wanting a straight up 1v1 versus IShowSpeed and LA Knight, which LA Knight could definitely kind of walked through a match or talked through through IShowSpeed to make sure that it works really well. I think LA Knight has that capabilities of being an in-ring general to be able to make that, call that match on the fly if needed to be, or able to be patient with IShowSpeed to walk it through. I think they could put on a solid match, but it makes sense putting it in a 3v3 Vision versus Usos versus LA Knight. It could all work out, considering that the Usos are going to be busy that night later on, or later in Mania with CM Punk and Roman. Anyway, I don't mind it. It just sucks that the tag team championships won't be defended at WrestleMania because it's going to be on the Vision. I think they're just going to be draped in gold just to have gold. It's good that the Vision finally gets gold, but I mentioned this so long ago that the Vision should be dead. The whole thing about the Vision's gone. Let it just be about Austin Theory and Logan Paul and Paul Heyman. The Vision thing involves too many things of Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. You threw in Gunther versus Seth Rollins. What does that mean for the Vision? Like I mentioned, is he a merc for hire? There's too many questions, but what I do know is IShowSpeed being part of Mania, which is not a bad thing. Celebrities have always been a part of WrestleMania, and this is just a new modern type of celebrity. For those people who don't know who IShowSpeed is, in a streamer sense, he is like a culture phenomenon. He's been traveling the world, visiting cultures, getting involved with countries, and making sure that that generation understands about, like, there's a better side to streaming and being involved and not just being a nuisance out there. So IShowSpeed is a very positive force out there in streamer world, and no doubt will be a positive thing for WrestleMania. So when I say a panic button, don't paint it like it's a negative thing. The panic button could sometimes make some awesome moments like IShowSpeed in the WWE. Another sign of the panic button. Let's go ahead and go to the main event real quick. But let me put a pause on that. Let's go to Penta. Now, Penta has been someone that's been having some weird open challenges, not open challenges. He just had two. He just really got minted as the IC title holder. Just solid matches and title defenses going forward. We had that delayed one with Dominic Mysterio because Dominic Mysterio got concussed. We got Dragon Lee. And tonight on Monday night, we got Kofi Kingston. And in my mind, I was like, oh no, I'm hoping that they don't make Kofi Kingston get the title off of Penta, because this has been a lot of title changes going into WrestleMania, and that's another sign that the panic buttons has been pressed, as a lot of people have been losing belts left and right. But going back to what's happening with Penta literally has the match and then announced, I'm gonna have a ladder match. Ladder match is gonna happen at Mania. If you want some, come get some. Basically, you're not from this world. Up there is my kingdom. Some really dope lines from Penta. Awesome performance from Penta. But then the WWE says, hey, we already know who's going to be in the match. We had qualifiers on main event, and Adam Pearce has been doing some studying, and boom, here we are. Which is a very bizarre thing to do, because why have nothing built up for the IC title and just all of a sudden throw together a ladder match when you had the women's tag team division, who's been feuding for week in, week out, been having the constant over and over DQs and the interferences ever since, I feel like, Royal Rumble. It's been swirling around these same type of characters of Charlexa and Irresistible Forces, the Bella Twins, the Lyra and Bailey. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe we could get this gimmick match together and make it TLC, because it makes the most logical sense, because they built it up so much. I get it. Penta's match is a ladder match. You want to earn that title, you got to go through Penta's world. He has zero fear. But that match deserved the ladder match. But going back to Penta, apparently there was qualifiers to face Penta, and it all happened at main event. And people are coming after me on Twitter because I mentioned, why does it make sense? What timeline? Is like, they said Michael Cole said main event. But even that doesn't make sense, because the last opponent that Dragon Lee faced was Brooke Jensen. Unless they had main event dark match beforehand, we're supposed to know why the Dragon Lee, Javon, JD McDonough, and Rusev are going to have this match at WrestleMania, which is, again, doesn't bother me that those are going to be a match. It's going to be a banger of a match, and dare I say, there's room for one more, perhaps a Jericho. But Dragon Lee, Javon Evans, Rusev, JD McDonough, and Penta are going to be a banger of a match. And it's just a way for me I want the WWE in general to, like, embrace just putting on a match. Not everything needs a crazy storyline. Be okay with just, we're going to put on the best match ever. Adam Pearce decided to put together the best wrestlers that he felt were deserving of an IC title match and put it together and be like, okay, cool. Boom. Or even have Penta say, you know what? I'll face all of you. If everyone was going to step up to the plate, and you had JD, Rusev, Javon, and you even had Dragon Lee, they all showed up on Monday night next week and be like, oh my God, who's going to be in? And then Penta's like, you know what? I'll face all of you. That'd be so much better than what happened than getting announced on a graphic from Michael Cole and Corey Graves. And that's what I mean. Another sign that the panic button has been pressed. They needed a banger match with Penta with no storyline and no buildup and no kind of qualifiers to show the struggle to get there, and they just threw in names in the hat. Like I mentioned, it's not bad, but the WWE just need to embrace sometimes you have some of the best talent in the world in the WWE. Just say you're going to put it together like a dream match. I know AEW does a lot. I know people dislike when AEW doesn't have some crazy storyline to get to the point of sometimes of a banger match, but sometimes it's just okay to say this is going to be a dream match. We want to put the best of the best inside the ring for the IC title because it deserves it. Penta wants that. Or make it a story like you should have and just have Penta say, I'll take all of you because I have zero fear. Cero mero. It's right there. It's right there for the taking. But again, the WWE panics and decide to throw it all on the Madison Square Garden show because it has the most eyes. Another interesting panic button that we're going to get to is Stephanie McMahon. It's crazy to me that button is a Stephanie McMahon play, McMahon panic button pressed by the WWE. When in doubt, you need some heat. You want to add some fire to a feud. You want to make a babyface hotter. You want to make a Healy guy more heelier, add some more heat to them. Put in a McMahon, and they put in one of the best McMahons when it comes to just performance on the microphone, Stephanie McMahon. And the opening segment for Madison Square Garden comes out, kind of berates Cody Rhodes and be like, what's wrong with you? You know you can't beat Randy Orton, not that Randy Orton, not this Cody Rhodes. And then Cody Rhodes is like, hey, why are you coming to me? I know I'm not my father. You are not your father. I'm kind of truncating on here. And Stephanie McMahon slaps Cody Rhodes and basically reiterates that. And it's a very interesting thing because Cody Rhodes does end it with a thank you. 2 words for you. Thank you. I don't think it's going to get any more than that. I know my fantasy booking kind of went wild when I was on X. I was like, what if it's Stephanie McMahon on the underline with Randy Orton? People don't do this anymore, by the way. They do this. What if it's Randy Orton and Stephanie McMahon are talking to each other? Because Randy Orton did say there's wrestling has more than one royal family, and the McMahons are definitely a royal family when it comes to it all. Because Cody Rhodes talk about his grandfather and things like that, and they mentioned Vince, which is rare, which I don't know if they're priming us to get ready for Vince McMahon's return. But Stephanie McMahon being involved in the feud buildup of Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton is huge. I do feel like this could be a one-off. I don't think Stephanie McMahon will be the heel. That would be crazy. That would be wild if it was revealed that Stephanie McMahon was the one on the other line with Randy Orton and that they screw over Cody Rhodes because Cody Rhodes can't be the champion. He's been the golden boy, and that is not right for business. I mean, it's been a long time since we had an authority figure involved in it. And considering I don't think Stephanie McMahon has any like legit authority in the WWE, and I do this in quotes in terms of kayfabe, but we all know Stephanie McMahon is Stephanie McMahon, and of course the wife of Triple H, but Stephanie McMahon could do anything that she wants in the WWE, and that would be an interesting card to pull. It'd be an interesting panic button type of play to make Stephanie McMahon a central character in Cody Rhodes in Randy Orton, which in a feud that really didn't need it at all. A simple thing to do in WWE tropes or in the past is just to put the babyface against the McMahons. And if Stephanie McMahon is going to side with Randy, that's be wild thing. That might give Randy finally the booze you want because it's such a out of place, out of left field type of play. But I respect it. I like it. And I think that you want to get some heat on Randy Orton for siding with the McMahon, aka the El Diablo of the WWE. Why not, right? That'd be a great way to do it. And Cody and Stephanie McMahon had a great segment on Monday Night Raw. They did some great things. And when that panic button was pressed of a McMahon, not necessarily, like I said, a bad thing. It was executed really, really well. But it made a lot of people go, huh. And I think that's what's very important going into Monday Night Raw, into those couple of last weeks going into WrestleMania, is because you could get what they did with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which is a strange thing. Now, I got lambasted. I got just basically ridiculed for the longest time on my podcast of Wrestling is Cool when I mentioned that I don't want to see Roman and CM Punk because in 2 weeks of that feud, it peaked, and it peaked hard. And it's a clear sign that they peaked and they don't know where to go any higher than that. They brought in Jimmy and Jey Uso. They didn't bring in Solo and Ciampa Fatu, which would have been a great natural escalation to the entire thing. They had Roman call CM Punk old. Roman continues to call CM Punk old on Jimmy Fallon, things of that sort. CM Punk comes out at Madison Square Garden and just beats up Roman Reigns and shield bombs him. And where's the nuance? Where's the mind games? I made a video about it, and they literally threw that out the window for just CM Punk brawling with Roman Reigns, which is a repeat of what they did on SmackDown between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And then they had CM Punk stand over Roman Reigns tall at the Garden. And here in my moment, we're thinking that maybe The Rock would come out. Maybe The Rock would say like, hey, what are you doing? Why isn't Roman Reigns standing like, Roman, you're supposed to be beating CM Punk. You let him disrespect you and he beat you. The only interesting thing about that entire thing is Michael Cole said, Roman needs help. Does that mean from Jay? Does that mean from Jimmy? Did the WWE press the panic button and The Rock is going to come down? That would be an interesting play. If anything, more than anything, I would say that The Rock should have appeared at Madison Square Garden. And it's a kind of a shame that it didn't happen here because that crowd was white hot. The crowd had a great show. You had a great segment with Stephanie McMahon and Liv Morgan that kind of escalated very nicely. You had so many great moments, especially like that Penta match and that announcement. Everything did feel like a go home for Monday Night Raw, but it was just missing that big moment for the main event. And what's interesting is that big moment that did happen for WrestleMania was between Femi and Brock Lesnar. They were able to escalate that very nice. This time around, you had Brock Lesnar dressed in his ring gear, ready to go, all oiled up, and Paul Heyman giving out excuses for Brock Lesnar, be like, all right, this time he's dressed, ready to go. Can't surprise him this time, Femi. And out comes Oba, destroys all the security guards left and right. Femi gets his hands on Adam Pearce, which I wish they followed up for immediately, but Adam Pearce didn't seem to care that Femi tossed him aside. And we're about to get the stare down of the century between Femi and Brock Lesnar, and guess who sticks his face into this feud? It is Triple H, the man who doesn't want the spotlight, comes in and escalates that feud even further because it's going to look great on the video packages. That's why it happened, folks. Triple H doesn't really have any huge involvement in Brock Lesnar or Femi story-wise. It just looks really good for a video package if you got Triple H's face in it, breaking them up so that way they could put it on ESPN and be like, oh my God, Triple H is involved. That's the only thing. But it's like that right there should have been the segment that ends Monday Night Raw. Roman and CM Punk didn't have that oomph as much as Femi and Brock Lesnar. You can tell that Triple H does care a lot about this feud, considering that he was able to walk out of Gorilla. So I'm just looking at it overall. Just going back to SmackDown, we talk about the panic button being pressed there. Sami Zayn. A lot of people upset. I didn't make a video about this because I thought, let it marinate for a bit, but Sami Zayn becoming the United States title holder is a huge panic button press that he's not Mello walking into Mania. I believe Mello does deserve to be the champion and walking into Mania, even if he does get added to the triple threat or fatal four-way with Ilya Dragunov, Mello, Trick, and Sami Zayn for the United States title. He should be the champion walking into that to get his big WrestleMania entrance, but the WWE panic and decided to put it into Mello to give to Sami Zayn a known commodity. I mean, it's a quite interesting, fascinating tale. If you're a Sami Zayn fan, you better be like, wait a minute, I like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn deserves to be the champion as well. He's been putting all the work. He started the open challenges for the United States. Why are we all hating on Sami Zayn? He had a great ride going against the Bloodline. He's been a great NXT champion and all these kinds of situations. We like Sami Zayn, so what gives? I think Sami Zayn going through his little mental trip of trying to figure out who he is, attacking water bottles, talking to Cody, talking to Randy, and then he just gets told by Trick, hey, Adam Pearce says, Nick Aldis says you're not on the card for WrestleMania, I'm sorry there, chap. And then all of a sudden Trick rose in his face, and then Sami goes, aha, I know a way in. Let me go ahead and take the championship away from Mello. And the only interesting saving grace of that whole moment is that it tied it all together to the conversations that he was having with Cody, or the conversations he was having with Randy, like, I don't know if I should ever push the trigger. How can you push the trigger, Randy? I'm inspired by you. And then he did that. He took advantage of Trick Williams and that interference, and he saw Mello go down from the metal cup, and he went to the Huluva kick. But is that a panic button being pressed? I think so. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the title is technically a bigger match, despite Mello deserving that spot more. Now, if they add in Ilya, they add in Mello versus Trick and Sami Zayn, that multi-man's going to be bang. It's interesting when you look at the WrestleMania card, a lot of singles matches, not a lot of multi-man. We did add the tag team women's tag team match as well with the Fatal 4-Way, like I mentioned, the Bellas, Charlexa, Irresistible Forces, and Lyra and Bailey, and that's going to be a Fatal 4-Way, not a TLC, which is a bummer. We got Penta's multi-man, and now possibly, hopefully, we'll get the multi-man for the United States title. I don't think Damian and R-Truth make the card. I'm looking for them, and I don't see it unless we're going to have the White Six, and it's going to be wild to me that the White Six are not going to make the Mania as well. I mean, unless they put them together with the MFTs versus the Wives for the Lantern, when the Lantern doesn't really have that much power. The last button we're going to talk about is the button of Jelly Roll. So much criticism of Jelly Roll being involved in multiple matches and multiple segments, so to speak, on SmackDown. And this interesting comparison when you look at IShowSpeed, who not only had multiple segments, he had a segment with Danhausen, he had a segment with LA Knight, he had a segment with The Vision, he had involvement in the match. I think the difference is that IShowSpeed is more of a personality celebrity, whereas Jelly Roll is a personality celebrity and a wrestler. He's trying to wrestle in the ring, and he did have a match against Kit Wilson, who was cursed. By all means, the curse should matter. And he was able to pin Kit Wilson. So I think I understand where that friction or that rub is rubbing people raw when it comes to Jelly Roll. But Jelly Roll is the celebrity. Jelly Roll will get headlines. Jelly Roll defeats wrestler at SmackDown. Jelly Roll gets RKO'd by Randy Orton. All that stuff matters, folks. The headlines matter. IShowSpeed being involved. IShowSpeed causes tag team champions, the Usos, Jay and Jimmy Uso, to lose. All that stuff matters. Stephanie McMahon slapping Cody Rhodes. Stephanie McMahon slapping all viral videos when it comes to it. So panic buttons are being pressed left and right. John Cena hosting WrestleMania 42. Panic buttons are being pressed left and right. But the question is pressing that panic button, is that just going to cause so many things to just get fast forward? Are we going to get more matches announced at SmackDown like the Penta match, where it's just out of nowhere, hey, we're going to throw this match together just because? I hope not, because you work so hard throughout the year to build up storylines, to build up feuds, and for it just to kind of not necessarily just like pivot on a dime like Gunther and Seth, which is I give a pass for that due to injuries, but I'm hoping you don't do that. I mean, I don't think, again, the ticket sales being so poor are not because of the talent you have and not necessarily the stories that you're telling. I just believe it's that you don't believe in those stories to the fact to say, yeah, we're gonna do this. Yeah, we're gonna have Drew McIntyre be a champion at WrestleMania. Yeah, we're gonna have Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre and Randy and Cody in the multi-man match at WrestleMania. I don't see, like, yeah, we're going to have Melo walk into Mania as a champion. There's so many of those questions that I just was hoping for the WWE to have confidence in. Yes, we lost Seth Rollins. Yes, we don't have the Vision, but we're going to still believe in what we do and continue on without the injuries because it's the next superstar up type of situation. And like the biggest thing ever is, like, I absolutely love that the Liv Morgan and Stephanie McMahon got more time. And with that more time, that was one of the most underrated feuds going into WrestleMania going forward. So we'll keep an eye on everything. I appreciate you. If you missed out on the Monday night, hopefully I did a pretty good job reviewing things. I'm not trying to do recaps and things like that, but I feel like it all this kind of summarizes my theme that I've been writing lately about that panic button. And of course, the biggest button left, I mentioned all the left and right and pressing front and center, is the big button right there of The Rock showing up. And once they press that button, there's no going back. There's no going back. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow if you made it this far, or subscribe, as they say. Peace out, y'all.